All right, let's dive right in. Today we're going to tackle one of the oldest and honestly one of the toughest stories out there. It's a story that grapples with a question I think every single one of us has asked at some point.
And that question is this: why do bad things happen to good people? Right? I mean, we've all been there. You see some senseless tragedy, some awful injustice, and you just can't help but wonder, why? It's this huge, universal human puzzle.
Well, there's this ancient story that doesn't just ask that question, it dives headfirst into it. We're talking about the book of Job. It's this incredible epic from the Hebrew Bible that it wrestles with the problem of suffering, and it pulls us right into that struggle, that search for meaning.
Okay, so first up, let's meet the man at the center of it all, Job. And listen, this guy has everything going for him. He's described as basically a perfect person. Tons of integrity, super respected. He's got a big family, he's incredibly wealthy. I mean, by any standard, he is a good guy living a good life. But then, the story takes this wild turn. We get a scene in like a heavenly court, and this character, sometimes called the accuser, shows up and basically makes a bet with God. He says, look, Job is only faithful because you've given him everything. Take it all away and he'll curse you. So God agrees to let him be tested. And just like that, bam, in this absolutely brutal series of events, Job loses everything. His wealth, gone. His children, gone. And then his own health is destroyed. He goes from the very top to the absolute bottom.
And here's the crazy part. Even after all of that, this unimaginable loss, what does Job do? He grieves, of course, he mourns, but he does not curse God. He actually holds on. He keeps his integrity. So he passes that first horrible test. But oh man, this is really just the beginning of the story.
So Job's 3 friends come to comfort him, and for 7 days they just sit with him in total silence. Can you imagine? But after that week, the dam just breaks. Job can't hold it in anymore. And this is where the story completely shifts gears. It goes from being about what happened to this really intense philosophical debate about why it happened.
He just explodes. He starts cursing the day he was even born. Now, notice he doesn't curse God directly, but he's questioning the whole point of existence. Why live if life can have this much pain for no reason? It's just this raw, unfiltered, and totally human cry of despair. And this is when his friends decide to speak up. They all basically say the same thing, which is the standard belief back then. Well, Job, you must have sinned. God is just, so if you're suffering, it must be a punishment. Just repent. But Job keeps pushing back, saying, no, I know I'm innocent. Their easy answers aren't comforting at all. They just feel like salt in the wound, completely ignoring what he's actually going through. Yeah, he basically tells them, you guys have no idea. He says his suffering is heavier than all the sand in the sea. Think about that image. He's not looking for their neat little formulas. He's screaming for some kind of justice, some understanding of why his world has been turned completely upside down. He feels totally alone, abandoned by the God he's been so faithful to. And this debate goes on and on and on. For almost 30 chapters, it's just this back and forth. The friends stick to their simple theology, and Job sticks to his painful reality. It's a total stalemate. And you start to wonder, where is this even going? But then, something happens that changes everything. So, right when it feels like they're just going in circles, this younger guy named Elihu shows up. He's been listening to this whole thing and says, you're all wrong. The friends and even Job. He suggests something new. Maybe suffering isn't just a punishment. Maybe it can be a way to teach us something, to purify us. It's a different take for sure, but even his speech is just the warm-up act for the main event. Because suddenly, a voice speaks out of a whirlwind, a storm, and it's God. This is it. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. God himself is going to answer Job. But the answer he gives, it's not what anyone, especially not Job, was expecting. So, what does God say? Does he explain the whole bet with the accuser? Does he tell Job why he had to suffer? Nope, not at all. Instead, God just starts asking Job questions, a whole flood of them. He starts with, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? He's basically saying, Job, you want answers about how I run the universe? Did you help me build it? And the questions just keep coming, one after another. Can you command the morning? Can you harness the stars? Do you know how to control the oceans? It goes on, all about the mind-blowing complexity of the cosmos. And the point isn't to make Job feel small. It's to completely blow up the framework of the debate. It shifts the focus from Job's personal pain to the absolutely vast, wild, and awe-inspiring mystery of creation itself.
So how do you even respond to that? After this incredible cosmic tour, what does Job do? Well, it leads him to a completely different kind of understanding.
He humbles himself and he repents. But, and this is so important, he's not repenting because he finally admits he did something wrong. He's repenting for something else, for his own limited viewpoint, for thinking he could or should be able to understand the mind of God. He finally gets it. His knowledge has limits, but God's doesn't.
And right there, that's the heart of the whole book. The ultimate answer to suffering isn't some neat little explanation. It's not a formula. It's the experience of a direct encounter with God. In the end, the relationship, the encounter itself, becomes way more important than getting a perfect answer to the why question. And what's really interesting is what happens next. God turns to Job's friends and basically tells them off. He says their tidy, religious answers were completely wrong. And then he restores Job. He gives him twice the wealth, a new family, everything back, and more. Job's life is made whole again, and his faithfulness is proven.
So, let's wrap this up. What does this ancient story have to say to us right here, right now? Why are we still talking about it thousands of years later?
Well, for one, it completely shatters that easy idea that if you suffer, you must have done something wrong. It tells us reality is way more complicated and, frankly, more mysterious than that. It suggests that real faith isn't about having all the answers lined up. It's about finding the strength to trust even when nothing makes sense, when you have more questions than answers.
And that's the question it leaves us with, really. Is true faith about getting everything to add up perfectly in your head? Or is it about finding something to hold on to when it absolutely doesn't? It's something to think about. Thanks for diving into this with us.